Cmdr.Lyur, bilingual this time. After my seat report, I felt I had to do a few videos about wars. Après la situation report, j'ai senti le besoin de faire quelques petites vidéos, de vous mettre quelques films au sujet de tout ça. So this is a salute again, because the elites ruling the planet they won't make another big war. L'élite de la planète veulent de nouveau faire une grande guerre là, qu'ils organisent tout le temps. So this time it will be a salute to all the soldiers that will be involved, that have been involved in the past, whatever they are, Americans, French, English, from any nation, and the other guys on the other side too. Donc là, ce coup-ci, c'est un salut à tous les soldats, pas seulement américains, français, anglais, de tous les pays, y compris de ceux de l'autre côté, qui pourront être impliqués là-dedans. Je vais expliquer après. Donc là, on salue de nouveau. Là, ce coup-ci, c'est tous les soldats, hein, inclus les gendarmes français, là. I salute the French Gendarmerie, a special military police unit that is in charge of all police operations in France. I will explain that. I will explain everything. It's just another salute that was necessary. Like I said, I felt I had to do a follow-up to my seat report, probably a guidance. Comme j'ai dit, j'ai senti qu'il fallait que je fasse une sorte de suite à ma seat report, report de situation. Pourquoi? Parce que il est probable, dans cette fausse ligne de temps, que l'élite organise une nouvelle guerre mondiale. Because in this fake timeline, it's probable that the elite wants to organize a new world war. C'est pour ça que je vais faire ces vidéos pour vous montrer des segments. Ça va servir d'intro, un pour la vidéo Vietnam House of the Rising Sun. I will this use as an intro to two videos, at least one for the clip Vietnam War, the House of the Rising Sun, and I will use it for presentation of the very good historian Jacques Pauwels. Et j'utiliserai aussi cette intro pour présenter la conférence, je vais absolument la mettre sur Golden Source Report, de Jacques Pauwels au sujet des fausses guerres. Because what we are talking about here is about organized fake wars, with always using a pretext, a fabricated trigger. Parce que ici on parle toujours des guerres qui sont toujours organisées par les mêmes et qui utilisent un prétexte organisé, hein, une espèce de faux drapeau qu'ils fabriquent. Check. Like I say, we're going to keep doing intros for several videos. So the first video I will show is Vietnam War. Donc comme intro, je vais l'utiliser pour plusieurs vidéos. La première, ça va être un clip sur la guerre du Vietnam. Americans today, you're supposed to know what was the trigger for the Vietnam War, because you had Jesse Ventura telling you that in the series Conspiracy Theory. Les Américains connaissent aujourd'hui le prétexte fabriqué qui a causé la guerre du Vietnam en raison du fait que Jacques Ventura, qui a fait aux États-Unis une émission qui s'appelait Conspiracy Theory, théorie de la conspiration, et qui passait aux heures de grande écoute sur les télévisions. Jamais vous verrez une chose pareille en France, n'est-il pas? So, Jacques Ventura told you and other people that the Gulf of Tonkin incident was a false flag. Donc Jacques Ventura a dit dans cette émission que l'incident du golfe du Tonkin qui a déclenché la guerre du Vietnam côté américain était un faux drapeau. He said that it was the secret services of the USA who managed to steal some boats and camouflage them in North Vietnam patrol boats, and they organized the false flag so that these so-called North Vietnam boats would attack an American ship. Donc le faux drapeau était que les services secrets américains ont capturé des bateaux de patrouille du Nord-Vietnam, les ont camouflés, et ont camouflé les gens dessus, et ont fait semblant que ces bateaux viennent attaquer un navire américain, ce qui a causé le prétexte pour faire la guerre du Vietnam. Okay, now you know why so many of your brothers, my brothers, died in Vietnam. And before the French, we were there with exactly the same story. Et les Français, nous, on y était avant avec la même histoire. The salute I've given over there was concerning also that part of French military called Gendarmerie, who lost a lot of their guys at the last battle of Dien Bien Phu for the French-Vietnam War. J'ai salué là-bas les gendarmes qui se sont battus à Dien Bien Phu et qui ont perdu beaucoup d'hommes là-bas. J'ai fait un article sur nos amis de la gendarmerie, en français, je l'ai fait quelque part. Donc on les salue quand même s'ils sont capables de venir chez moi et de voler les livres que j'avais écrits sans me donner de reçu, ce qui est complètement illégal, c'était digne de la Gestapo nazie. Even these guys, they went in my house one time to steal the books I had written without giving me a legal receipt, which was the way of the Gestapo. Whatsoever, I salute them anyway, because they were very courageous in our Vietnam War. On les salue quand même parce qu'ils ont été très courageux dans notre guerre du Vietnam. Un petit morceau ici, parce que Jacques Pauwels va expliquer beaucoup de choses. A little piece here, because Jacques Pauwels, historian, will explain. You will see that in the video. I will put in English, and there will be a French one bigger. Il y aura donc une partie de Jacques Pauwels en anglais, pour tous ceux qui parlent anglais, et une partie plus grande en français. I don't remember if Jacques Pauwels mentioned this. Je me rappelle plus si Jacques Pauwels a mentionné ce fait, ce faux drapeau dont je vais parler maintenant. I don't remember if Jacques Pauwels did mention this false flag that I have to tell you. So here is an example of a false flag. Un exemple de faux drapeau. That false flag, by the way, triggered World War II. In Europe and everywhere. Donc ce faux drapeau a déclenché la Deuxième Guerre mondiale. en Europe, puis après, ça s'est étendu. The idea from the Minister of Propaganda of the Nazi regime, I reckon he was named Hermann Hesse, was to make a false attack on Germany. Alors l'idée du ministre de la propagande de Hitler, qui était je crois Hermann Hesse, pour déclencher une guerre, pour pouvoir aller en guerre, était de fabriquer une fausse attaque. Always a good way to do it, fake flag, false flag, fake attack. Hein, on fait toujours comme ça, une fausse attaque, un faux drapeau, en avant. So Hermann Hesse managed to get some Polish prisoners that he had someplace. He took some Polish uniforms somewhere and he brought this guy in a German radio station at the border of Germany and Poland in German territory. So l'idée d'Hermann Hesse, ça a été de prendre des prisonniers polonais qu'il avait dans un coin, d'aller chercher des uniformes de l'armée polonaise et d'amener ces gars-là dans une station de radio allemande qui se trouvait à la frontière Pologne-Allemagne, mais du côté allemand. And over there he organized the attack. That is, these guys in Polish uniforms, who were Polish, were killed inside the radio station in Germany, and the claim from Germany was that Germany is being attacked by Polish soldiers, the Polish army, who attacked a radio station in Germany, and that was the reason to attack Poland. Sur la version officielle, très simple comme d'habitude, c'était de dire, voilà, des soldats polonais, l'armée polonaise a attaqué une station de radio en Allemagne, donc nous partons en guerre contre la Pologne, voilà, c'est tout bon. Okay, you see how it is easy to fabricate a false flag and start a world war. Vous voyez ainsi comment c'est facile de fabriquer un prétexte et déclencher une guerre mondiale. Jacques Pauwels will explain much more than I do in his conference. Jacques Pauwels, il va expliquer beaucoup plus que ce que je dis là dans sa conférence qu'il faut absolument avoir. I am putting these pieces from Jacques Pauwels on Golden Sausage Report because they may disappear from YouTube and they are more difficult to find on YouTube. And they could disappear as soon as the plan will proceed for another world war. Donc je mets les vidéos de Jacques Pauwels sur la chaîne Golden Starseed Report parce que d'abord c'est un peu difficile de les trouver, ensuite il est possible qu'elles soient complètement enlevées quand la progression vers cette idée de faire une troisième guerre mondiale sera en route. On rappelle ici le plan d'Albert Pike, chef des Illuminati, qui en 1871 a écrit une lettre au chef des Illuminati italiens en expliquant les trois guerres mondiales et comment la troisième guerre mondiale allait être organisée par les Illuminati. Remember Albert Pike, the chief of the American Illuminati and the World Illuminati, in 1871 sending a letter to the chief of the Illuminati in Italy explaining the three world wars and how the third one will be organized in the Middle East in exact conditions that we see today. Et la prédiction, le plan de la Troisième Guerre mondiale, exactement de commencer au Moyen-Orient avec les conditions réunies que nous connaissons aujourd'hui. A little note I want to make here is to the memory of my grandfather, who was a French soldier during World War I in Verdun. Je voudrais faire une petite note ici en mémoire de mon grand-père qui s'est battu à Verdun. My grandfather was in the artillery in Verdun. Mon grand-père était dans l'artillerie à Verdun. And at some point, it happened once and twice and more time, but the first time it happens was this way. Il y a un événement qui est arrivé, qui s'était reproduit, mais enfin voici le premier événement. One time, my grandfather, in his team, with their big cannons, were ordered to fire on a certain coordinates. Donc à un moment donné, mon grand-père et les grands canons qu'ils utilisaient ont reçu l'ordre de tirer sur un point, une coordonnée bien précise. My grandfather said to his captain, "Captain, we cannot fire on that coordinate because this is right beyond our own troops advancing. So we are going to fire on our troops." Et il a donc dit au capitaine, "Capitaine, ça va pas là, parce que si on tire sur les coordonnées qu'on nous donne, on va tirer sur l'arrière de nos troupes qui sont en train d'avancer, on va tirer sur nos propres hommes." Captain say, "Wow, I'll make a report immediately." So he took the telephone and called the colonel, probably the general, and say, "General, the coordinate we were given, we are going to fire on our own men, right on their back. They are advancing." Donc il dit au colonel et même au général, mon général, je suis désolé, mais les coordonnées que vous donnez, on va tirer sur l'arrière de nos troupes, sur nos troupes, pendant qu'elles sont en train d'avancer. Voyez-vous, c'est pas possible ça. And General said, "This is exactly what the order is. You fire on these coordinates. It is an order. This way our soldiers would be obliged to advance." Et le général a dit au capitaine, "Mais c'est exactement ça. Vous devez tirer sur ces coordonnées parce que nous voulons que nos troupes soient obligées d'avancer." And they did. They did. They fired on the back on the French troops with the French artillery. Et donc l'artillerie française a tiré sur les troupes françaises juste derrière eux pour les faire avancer. And my grandfather say, and we discovered that the Germans big command, were doing the exact same thing to oblige the German troops to advance. Et mon grand-père a dit, on a découvert ensuite que l'artillerie, puisqu'on pouvait observer, l'artillerie des Allemands, avec leurs ordres qui venaient d'en haut, faisait exactement la même chose. Ils tiraient sur leurs propres hommes pour les obliger à avancer. Result, total complete butchery, as most of the wars are. Résultat, boucherie complète, comme le sont la plupart des guerres organisées par l'élite mondiale. Same way, the big elite organize everything this way. So that's to the memory of my grandfather, so pour la mémoire de mon grand-père. And also, when I was in the army, I went in furlough, see my grandfather, and he said, "Sit down, I want to tell you something." And he said, "You know, the world is ruled by the bankers." Quand moi j'étais dans l'armée, j'ai eu une permission, je suis venu voir mon grand-père, et mon grand-père m'a dit, "Assieds-toi, je dois te dire une chose, te révéler quelque chose. Le monde est dirigé par les banquiers." This intro would be sufficient to the clip when you see the Vietnam War with the music, The House of the Rising Sun. Bon, cette intro serait suffisante pour présenter le clip vidéo où on voit la guerre du Vietnam, côté américain, et avec la musique The House of the Rising Sun. But I feel that I have to make the intro a little larger. J'ai besoin de faire l'intro un peu plus large, because the people who are going to watch Vietnam War, The House of the Rising Sun, or the other video from the conference of the World Wars by Jacques Pauwels, it's good that they see what I'm doing here and what we are telling in this channel Golden Star Shield Report. Donc je fais une intro plus large parce que ceux qui vont regarder, qui vont tomber sur gars du Vietnam, House of the Rising Sun, chanson par les Animals, ou bien sur la conférence de Jacques Pauwels, et bien comme ça ils sauront ce que moi je dis sur Golden Star Shield Report et viendront voir ce qui s'y passe. Donc je continue à la faire un peu plus large. Nous avons vu avec la 5G. We have seen with the 5G report from David Icke. If you remember the psychopath, all those organizing the wars and everything, what he said that there would be the need to put boxes everywhere, absolutely everywhere on the planet. Vous vous rappelez ce psychopathe qui fait partie de ceux qui organisent toutes ces guerres-là, qui a mentionné il va falloir mettre des boîtes partout, sur les lampadaires, devant les maisons, devant les écoles, partout, 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 pour notre fameuse, merveilleuse 5G. Okay, in order to put our marvelous technology of 5G, we're going to need to put everywhere posts, special boxes on posts and posts all over the place. Ça va être un peu difficile à faire ça, parce qu'il va falloir donner des raisons. Mis à part la raison donc, des stupides vont avaler, qui est d'avoir un internet meilleur, besides what the stupidos will swallow, that it is to make a better internet. A number of people are going to ask questions. Quand même, il y a des gens qui vont quand même poser des questions. Hein? Like for the smart electric power, like for the linking, people ask questions. Why? Why to put an electric machine that will tell who knows who what we're doing in our house, how we use electricity, for what, etc. Les gens posent des questions avec le Linky, mais pourquoi est-ce que l'information doit aller quelque part? Pour que quelque part sache comment on utilise l'électricité dans notre maison. So the same way with the electric smart meter, people will ask questions with those posts all over the place for the 5G. Donc les gens vont demander les mêmes questions que pour le Linky quand ils vont voir qu'on met des boîtes et des trucs, des nouvelles tours, mais alors là, partout, partout, partout. What do you think, guys, that the best way to do that is for national security? Vous ne croyez pas que la meilleure raison pour faire avaler les gens, d'installer tout ça, ce serait la sécurité nationale? Don't you think that the best pretext to put all these boxes and poles all over the place would be it's for national security, it's to protect you? Hein? Tout ça, ce qu'on va faire, mais c'est pour vous protéger, c'est votre protection. Ok? Protect from what? Protéger de quoi? Mais voyons, puisque l'élite veut organiser leur troisième guerre mondiale de M. Albert Pike, puisque l'élite veut organiser cette troisième guerre mondiale de M. Albert Pike. Mais quand on est en état de guerre, on fait tout ce qu'on veut. When we are in a state of war, we can do everything we want. We can tell people everything we want. On peut dire absolument ce qu'on veut aux gens et ils vont l'avaler. They will swallow anything because we are at war. Ils vont tout avaler. Parce qu'on est en guerre, alors voilà, voilà. And because of the we are at war, the people were going to protest and refused. I don't want these boxes in front of my home and everything. They would be denounced and labeled as traitors, and they could end in concentration camps like the Japanese born in America were put during World War II in concentration camps. et les gens qui vont refuser. Mais moi je veux pas de toutes ces boîtes devant ma maison, encore des mauvaises fréquences qui m'arrivent dessus, etc. Ceux-là, si on est en guerre, sont désignés comme des traîtres, des collaborateurs avec l'ennemi, parce qu'ils refusent toutes ces technologies de protection et de sécurité de notre nation qui est en guerre. Okay, I think you got my point about this one. There will be more, because I have to explain what's happened in America. Il y en aura d'autres, parce que je veux expliquer aussi ce qui se passe en Amérique. Là, c'est juste l'intro sur les deux vidéos, la guerre du Vietnam et puis les conférences de Jacques Pauwels. Maintenant, a little point that some of you are going to ask. Wow, wow, wow. But nobody is going to do anything to stop a world war. Hein, vous allez dire, mais il n'y a personne qui va protester, qui va essayer d'arrêter une guerre mondiale comme ça. And the New Age will say, oh, but we do because of us, because we always do meditation, we play in that box of sand which is with rainbow colors, and we send so much light and love to the world that it's impossible that such new world war could happen, because we do that. Les New Age vont dire, mais ça peut pas arriver, parce que nous on envoie de la lumière et de l'amour et tout, quand on fait nos méditations, nos trucs, et dans notre bac à sable, avec notre pelle et notre seau, le bac à sable, il est plein, tout brillant, de plein de couleurs arc-en-ciel, et avec tout ce qu'on fait, c'est donc complètement impossible qu'il y ait une guerre comme ça. D'accord? Ouais. This is not what is needed. C'est pas ça qui est nécessaire. What is needed is that the New Age population, or all those who are awakened, holistic, bio, and all that stuff, and there are many, there are over 20% in the Western world. Tous ces gens-là qui sont New Age, bio, holistique et tout ça, ils sont au moins 20% dans le monde occidental. If these people, instead of playing in the sand with their bucket, would come to the streets and say no to all of this, no to 5G, no to World War, and that's it. There would be a bunch of people all over the Western countries, everywhere, and they would have to stop. Hein? Si les New Age, là, au lieu de jouer avec la pelle et le seau, là, avec le sable de rainbow de toutes les couleurs, là, ils venaient dans la rue, ça fait 20% de la population des pays occidentaux. Mais il y aurait des millions de gens partout dans tous les pays qui diraient « Il y en a marre, on ne veut pas de la 5G, on ne veut pas de ça, on ne veut surtout pas de cette guerre-là. » Ils seraient obligés d'arrêter leur plan. You get the point here? Okay, I'm about to finish the intro. Now you will see the video, the clip on the very Vietnam War, which is very emotional, which is good to show to all the young people. Look at that. Hein? Déjà, l'intro elle est bonne pour la vidéo du Vietnam, parce que les gens, c'est extrêmement émotionnel de voir ça. Il faut montrer ça aux jeunes en disant, vous voulez aller faire ça? Vous voulez y aller? And what's going to happen then? Would the young people be sent on the war, like Vietnam War, like the war where my grandfather was, and the war organized by the elite? You all have seen the seal of the Illuminati in Omaha Beach. Hein, vous avez tous vu le signe des Illuminati à Omaha Beach, et vous savez maintenant comment fonctionnent toutes les grandes guerres, comment c'est organisé. Et vous savez que maintenant, il y aura les jeunes là, eh bien ils vont être obligés d'y aller, ils vont y aller, comme ceux qui ont été au Vietnam. All the young people from all Western countries, they're going to be sent to that war, like of the young Americans were sent to Vietnam. Same way. Same way. What is the position now of the benevolent fleet from other planets or the galaxies, what would be the plan? Alors quelle va être la réaction, le plan maintenant de la flotte qui vient de planètes bénévoles et même d'autres galaxies, si ça recommence encore une troisième? What would do the fleet, the real fleet of Ashtar, not all the stuff, misinformation about the Pleiadians, Arcturians, whatever, they're coming to save us. Forget all of this. I'm talking about the real fleet. Oubliez tout le reste, hein, les Orions, les Pléiadiens, les machins, les trucs là, qui vont venir sauver la Terre, tout ça là. Oubliez ça, parce que c'est du bidon ça, hein, New Age. On parle de la vraie flotte là. The intergalactic fleet, which is really in charge of helping this planet to evolve spiritually, may intervene in case of nuclear use. Ok, la flotte, la vraie, celle qui vient aider l'humanité de cette planète à évoluer spirituellement, peuvent intervenir dans le cas d'utilisation de bombes nucléaires. They have done that in the past. They have disabled silo missile launchers. Happened several times. Donc dans le passé, plusieurs fois, la flotte a déconnecté complètement les silos de missiles chaque fois qu'il y a eu une possibilité de guerre mondiale nucléaire depuis des 20 ans, 30 ans, 40 ans. They have done that. They have done that. But if the war is not using such weapons which are forbidden in the galaxy, in the universe, si ceux qui organisent cette guerre utilisent d'autres armes que des armes atomiques, ce va être le choix des humains de laisser faire ça. That would be the choice of the humans on Earth to let that happen, to let a conventional war happen. And the fleet could not intervene to stop cold the war. Si c'est la décision des gens de la Terre d'accepter qu'une guerre comme ça se reproduise, pourtant ils ont vu tous les autres, ils ont dit qu'ils n'en voulaient plus, mais à chaque fois on en remet une nouvelle. Eh bien, mais si c'est les gens de la Terre qui sont d'accord pour ces guerres-là, la flotte intergalactique ne peut pas intervenir. Ça fait partie des lois spirituelles. It is in the spiritual law of free will. If a planet wants to destroy themselves to the last one, that's the choice of their soul they are making. Sauf si c'est nucléaire, except if it is nuclear, because the planet Maldek Malone was exploded with a nuclear war, and since the bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the universe said no more of this. Donc, depuis que la planète Maldek Malone a été explosée par une guerre nucléaire, et qu'il y a les bombes de Hiroshima et Nagasaki, la décision des forces universelles, des vrais bénévoles, a été « nous n'acceptons plus, il n'y aura plus de déflagration nucléaire qui va détruire, c'est fini ça ». Là on intervient. So they have decided to intervene only in case of use of nuclear weapons. But there are so many new weapons given by the Zeti and the reptilians now that they could do whatever they want. Mais il y a des armes aujourd'hui données par les reptiliens, Archons, gris, etc., qui peuvent faire un dommage absolument majeur sur la planète, et ce ne sera pas nucléaire. But again, this is the choice of human. À nouveau, c'est le choix des humains. Alors une dernière note après ça. Now last note, because I have a few questions coming regularly in my channel Golden Star Seed Report. Bon, maintenant, une petite note, puisque j'ai des questions qui arrivent régulièrement dans ma chaîne Golden Star Seed Report, qui est la vôtre autant que la mienne. Question are, but how to stop this, how to stop the plan of the Archons and all these awful things from the elite controlled by them. So les questions souvent c'est, comment c'est possible? On ne peut pas arrêter donc ces plans des reptiliens, des archons, etc., qui contrôlent l'élite mondiale et qui organisent tout ça. Okay, that's a huge question. I've responded to this one because of the universal law. That's the choice of people. Mais j'ai expliqué déjà les lois universelles et que c'était le choix des gens. So, there are two examples here. Donc il y a deux exemples ici. L'Amérique, parce que dans le temps c'était déjà comme ça, mais avec même le nouveau président, bien sûr, comme toujours, l'Amérique doit être numéro 1 dans le monde, et s'il faut faire une grande guerre contre les méchants russes ou machin, on la fera. Bon, on the American side, whatever guy is running the show, it was that in the past, it would be the same. The big guy running in the US will say, we, America, were number 1 in the world, and if necessary, we will make war against bad people, whatever it is, Russians or Arab people. Donc déjà, la chose est claire au niveau US. It's clear about what would do the US. The UK is ruled by reptilians, basically from the start, in plain face. So, l'Angleterre est dirigée par les reptiliens, on l'a en pleine face, on n'en parle même pas. France, we have to say a word about France. France is going to follow America and the UK in a big war. La France suivra l'Amérique et l'Angleterre dans une grande guerre. A test is being made recently. Un test a été fait récemment, on l'a vu, with a false flag organized by the American Secret Service, the Israeli Secret Service, and Saudi Arabia Secret Service. On l'a vu récemment avec un faux drapeau organisé par les services secrets, qu'ils soient américains, israéliens, Saudi Arabie, là, Arabie Saoudite. A test was made. It was blatantly a false flag. Tout le monde a vu que c'était un faux drapeau. Donc le test était de voir si les gens allaient accepter, même avec un faux drapeau. The test was, will the people accept that even if it is a false flag? So a test was made by the US, the UK and France decided also to send missiles. Donc dans ce cas-là, avec les trois, la France aussi a donc décidé d'envoyer les missiles sur la Syrie, même sachant que c'était un faux drapeau. Why is that? Well, you got the answer. All the alternative media from the US, everywhere on the planet, say to the French people, you are damn crazy. You have let an Illuminati ruling the country and you voted for him. Tous les gens des médias alternatifs, qui sont américains du monde entier, ont dit aux Français, mais vous êtes complètement fous, vous avez élu un Illuminati. Mais vous, qu'est-ce que vous avez fait? It was known before that this guy was an Illuminati with the Bilderberg. It was an agent of the Rothschild, which are the elites organizing all of this, and the French decided to let that guy pass. They didn't do what had to be done to block him. Les Français, ils ont élu ce type alors que c'était connu dès le départ que c'était un Illuminati qui allait aux réunions des Bilderberg, que c'était un agent des Rothschild, ça s'était écrit partout avant, et ils ont quand même soit voté, soit ils ont laissé passer ce type, ils n'ont pas fait ce qu'il fallait pour faire barrage. Et il y avait une possibilité de faire barrage, ils l'ont laissé passer. So the French, like Alex Jones said and other guys, have decided to be slave of the New World Order and the Archons. La conclusion qui a été donnée par les médias alternatifs est les Français ont donc décidé, soit en votant, soit en ne rien faisant, et en laissant ce gars passer, ils ont voté, décidé faire partie du nouvel ordre mondial, être des esclaves, des archons. Ça y est, la cause est entendue. Tout le monde a compris? Everybody get the point here? That was a very important point. And here it is. Universal law of free will, loi universelle de libre arbitre. Les Français, ils ont décidé de faire ça ou de laisser faire ça. Ils ont choisi, ça y est, c'est fait, c'est bon. I've explained that the Archon needs the vote, the agreement of the people to take them as slaves. Rappelez-vous, j'ai dit, les Archons ont besoin de l'assentiment ou du vote des gens pour pouvoir les prendre comme esclaves. That's it. I have finished with my intro here, and now you get all the documentaries or the Vietnam film. And we'll talk later about that, about the possibilities of what the fleet would do in case of World War. On verra plus tard ce que la flotte peut avoir prévu comme alternative pour nous en cas de nouvelle guerre mondiale. On en reparlera plus tard. For the moment, have a look of what a war is and why war are organized. Pour le moment, regardez ce que c'est qu'une guerre, parce que là c'est des vraies images, c'est pas des films d'Hollywood. Et regardez les explications de Jacques Pauwels qui vous déballent tout. Okay? We go for that now. That's the end of this intro. God love to all. Salut à tous.
Most Americans were against Hitler and against Nazism in Germany, weren't they? Well, that's certainly the impression we get from watching Hollywood movies such as Saving Private Ryan or even Schindler's List or whatever. And while there's no denying that many Americans didn't like Hitler at all, in fact despised the man and hated Nazism, and it's also true that many Americans actually liked Hitler and had nothing against Nazism and against fascism in general. In fact, they kind of liked Hitler and they liked fascism, they liked Nazism. And one of the problems is that these people were actually, maybe not many in number, but they were very, very important people, very influential people. They were in many ways the social, the economic, and in some ways political elite of the United States. And I'm thinking here in particular about the great captains of industry, as they say in the United States, the great industrialists, the bankers and leading lawyers of the United States, who in the 30s actually liked Hitler because, as the saying went, you could do business with Hitler. And that is indeed very, very important. To understand that, one must go back to the 1920s, to the years, the decade after the First World War, when many American companies, for reasons which we can get into right now, made big investments in Germany, which was not yet under Nazi rule. For example, Ford and General Motors established big factories, big branch plants in Germany. And so did IBM and ITT and Gillette and Coca-Cola and Kodak and, you know, I could mention many, many other companies. And they started to do business in Germany. And did they do very well? Well, the answer is no. Their business didn't go very well for quite some time because in the early 30s, well, in the late 20s already, the Great Depression broke out. And that was a major economic crisis, which was very bad for business all over the world. Business was bad in the United States, and business was bad in Germany. But then, in 1933, in Germany, Hitler came to power. And suddenly, things started to improve for American investments in Germany. In fact, from the moment Hitler came to power in 1933, almost immediately American investments in Germany, American branch plants in Germany, started to make more and more money. And there was good reasons for that. One reason was that Hitler eliminated all trade unions, for example. And as a result of that, companies in Germany, including foreign-owned companies, could start to pay less and less, lower and lower wages to their workers and fewer benefits. And you could make them work longer hours without having to worry about the consequences because strikes were no longer allowed in Germany. So Hitler's type of fascism, Hitler's Nazism, was actually good for business in that sense, in that it's actually curtailed the power of unions and political parties. Talk about which the Nazis threw the communists into concentration camps, and the Socialist Party no longer had any say whatsoever in the politics of the country. So in that respect, there was no problems either. So Hitler was good for business in that sense, but Hitler was even better for business in that because of Hitler, business picked up in Germany. In that Hitler ordered lots of goodies, lots of products from the American companies active in Germany. For example, he ordered lots of trucks and tanks and airplanes from companies like General Motors and Ford. And all kinds of equipment, for example, communications equipment from ITT to enable airplanes to communicate with tanks. Hitler was preparing for war, as everybody now knows. And Hitler needed war material. He needed trucks, planes, and so forth. And these big American companies in Germany were very glad to provide that to Mr. Hitler. And contrary to what some people believe, that Hitler, for example, was a kind of communist who simply nationalized everything and didn't pay the bill, that's not true. Hitler did pay the bills. So Hitler, business picked up in Germany big time. In fact, in Germany, big American corporations did better business than they did in the United States itself. And you didn't have to have branch plants in Germany to do business with Hitler. You could also export to Germany directly. For example, the big American petroleum trusts like Exxon, well, then known as Standard Oil New Jersey, owned by the Rockefeller family, and Texaco supplied Hitler with all kinds of gas. Because Hitler was stockpiling gas. Obviously, if you want to wage a war involving Stuka airplanes and thousands of tanks rolling towards Warsaw or Paris or wherever, you need lots of gas. And I'll have you know that in Germany, while there's lots of beer and I guess water, there's no gas. So the gas you need to wage war, you have to import. And Hitler bought the gas from American sources, mostly. Not exclusively, mostly from American sources. So business with Hitler was very, very good business. Arming Hitler to the teeth was very good business. And when you would have asked an American captain of industry, such as Henry Ford, for example, in 1938, Mr. Ford, you're selling weapons to Hitler, you're selling trucks and tanks to Hitler. Don't you think Hitler is going to use that material to wage war against some country? The answer would have been, of course, there's going to be a war. But everybody who was in the know knew and expected that that war that Hitler for sure would unleash would be a war against the Soviet Union. And that was a great thing, because most American industrialists and bankers and so on hated the Soviet Union a hell of a lot more than they hated Nazi Germany. Because in the Soviet Union, they were working on constructing a socialist society, a kind of counter system to the capitalist system, for which the United States is famous, and which of course is a system that had produced the captains of industry, and from which the captains of industry of the United States were profiting. So actually Hitler was a wonderful guy, wasn't he? If you think about it. You made money thanks to Hitler. And Hitler, in the war we would have to unleash, would actually end up destroying the Soviet Union, which was the one country in the whole world that you hated the most. So Hitler's plans for war was nothing that we had anything against. In fact, when the war broke out in the United States, that elite of industrialists and bankers were not unhappy at all. And when Hitler's tanks rolled into Poland and later on into Belgium and France, that was not a big deal to them at all. In fact, in June 1940, there was a big celebration in the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, where the German consul invited all kinds of people to help celebrate the victories of the German army in the Low Countries against Poland and above all against France. And who was there? For example, Edsel Ford, the son of Henry Ford, and representatives of General Motors and ITT, who had helped him to win his victories. Because Hitler's warfare was blitzkrieg warfare, lightning fast warfare, involving planes and tanks and trucks moving really fast. Well, most of that equipment, if you think about it, or much of it anyways, was supplied by American companies, either active in Germany via branch plants, or supplying Germany directly, via, for example, via fuel, petrol, gas, oil, shipped in to Germany, either directly from the United States or via Mexico. So business with Hitler was wonderful business, and there was no reason whatsoever to dislike Hitler. In fact, if you would have said to Mr. Ford, you're doing business with Hitler, and we understand that you're happy about that because you make lots of money in Germany, but don't you think Hitler is an awful anti-Semite and a racist? You know, don't you dislike Hitler because of that? Well, the answer would have been no, because Mr. Ford himself was a notorious anti-Semite. And anti-Semitism was widespread in the high circles of society in the United States, and of course so was racism. So the fact that Hitler was an anti-Semite and was a racist was of no concern whatsoever. What he did to his Jews, was really no problem whatsoever for the big captains of industry in the United States. So war breaks out, and the war at first produces all kinds of German victories, but then later on German victories sort of end. Britain doesn't give up, and the war is stalling, and it looks like it could last many more years. But that's no problem to the United States, because in fact the war itself is wonderful for business. Not only are we making money by selling equipment to the Germans, but since the British are holding out and need our products to continue to wage war, we now supply the British as well. And we can now supply all kinds of weapons and planes to the British who are fighting the Germans with our equipment as well. So actually war is wonderful because we're supplying all enemies with weapons and make money in the process. And in the meantime, the United States itself is rearming, and we make money producing weapons there as well. And in fact, war is wonderful. War means business like never before. In fact, it's fair to say that it's the war that pulled the United States out of the Great Depression, and not Mr. Roosevelt's New Deal, as some historians still like to think or pretend to believe. So war was wonderful. And the longer the war lasted, the better. In fact, there's some notorious statements by politicians and industrialists like Harry Truman and Henry Ford saying that this war, basically, the longer it lasts, the better for us. And at that stage, the United States had no desire whatsoever to intervene on behalf of the little democracies and against that big dictatorship of Hitler. But we all know that the United States would get involved in the war. But actually, the way they got involved in the war was, as one American historian, Stephen Ambrose, has put it, they sort of backed into the war. They sort of stumbled into the war. They did not choose to enter the war deliberately. They actually accidentally stepped into the war, so to speak. And it happened because the Japanese attacked the United States at Pearl Harbor, as everybody knows. Right? And we know that the next day, the United States declared war on Japan. Fair enough, and that would have led to a different war in the Pacific and in the Far East than the war being fought in Europe, which was between Great Britain and in the meantime the Soviet Union and Germany. There could have sort of two world wars. But the only reason why they merged to become one single world war is because 4 days after Pearl Harbor, Hitler declared war on the United States. It's wrong to think, as many people do, that Roosevelt, the United States, declared war on Germany after Pearl Harbor, because actually Germany had nothing to do with Pearl Harbor. After Pearl Harbor, the United States declared war on Japan alone and not on Germany. Germany was not involved. And it's also wrong to believe, as some historians do, that Germany had an obligation to come to the aid of its Japanese ally. And that is not true, because Germany was only, only committed to help Japan if Japan was attacked by a third country. But that was not the case at Pearl Harbor. Japan attacked a third country. It was not attacked by a third country. So Germany had no obligation whatsoever to come to the aid of Japan. But Hitler did. 4 days after Pearl Harbor, on the 11th of December, he declared war on the United States. Which raises the question, if Hitler wouldn't have declared war on the United States, when would the United States have declared war on Germany? Possibly never at all. Possibly would never ever come to the aid of the little democracies and the oppressed countries and occupied countries of Europe. But they did, and that raises the question why Hitler did declare war on the United States on December the 11th, 1941. And the answer actually is to be found by looking at the situation of the German army in Russia at that time. In June 1941, Germany had attacked the Soviet Union. And they confidently believed at that time in Berlin that the war in the Soviet Union would last 6 to 8 weeks. Within 2 months it would be over. And it was very important for Germany that that be the case. Because at that stage, Germany only had about fuel left to wage war for about another 4 months. So within 4 months they had to defeat the Soviet Union in order to lay their hands on the oil-rich regions of the Caucasus. And if they would have done so, Germany would have been able to carry on the war forever against any major power in the world. Because the big weakness of Germany was the lack of raw materials, especially the lack of oil, right? So the war against the Soviet Union for Hitler was very important in many ways. It was important because Hitler's big dream, his mission in life, was the destruction of the Soviet Union, the cradle of the revolution, the cradle of communism. But also, grabbing the Soviet Union would have meant giving Germany, a major industrial power, plenty of raw materials it needed. The rich farmlands of the Ukraine, for example, and the oil fields of the Caucasus. These were the big prizes to be won in Russia. So Germany had to win fast because oil supplies had been dwindling already in 1940 and early 1941. So the war at first went well, but by August, September, October, it became clear that Germany did not have an easy time in the Soviet Union, that the resistance of the Soviets was much tougher than expected. And the catastrophe happened for Germans on the 5th of December 1941, which is when the Red Army counterattacked in front of Moscow and actually gave Hitler's armed forces a big bloody nose. And that same day, the generals reported to Hitler in Berlin that he had to lose the war, that we were going to lose the war because we're now stuck in the Soviet Union in the middle of the winter. You know, we're on the defensive now. We have no hope in hell of winning anymore this year, and we're out of fuel. You know, even trying again next year is going to be very, very difficult. There's no more element of surprise, you know, and the Soviets are still very, very strong. And that's the reason, I think, that's the reason why many historians think that Hitler declared war on the United States on December 11, 1941. He was desperate, desperately looking for a solution. He thought that by declaring war, without having to do so, against the enemy of his Japanese friends, that he might somehow cause the Japanese to reciprocate by declaring war on his enemy, the Russians. And that would have meant that the Japanese army, which was in China at the time, would have attacked the Soviets in the area of Vladivostok and forced the Soviet Union on a two-front war. And then, maybe, just maybe, you know, Germany might still have had a chance to win the war against the Soviet Union. But that gamble didn't pay off, because we all know that Japan said thank you very much to Hitler for attacking, for declaring war in the United States. But Japan did not reciprocate with a declaration of war against the Soviet Union. And as a result of that, Hitler had to carry on alone against his war, in his war against the Soviet Union, a war he was going to end up losing. And in fact, it's fair to say that it is the Soviet Union that defeated Nazi Germany, with the help, obviously, of the Americans, the British, the Canadians. You know, it took contributions from all the Allies to defeat Nazi Germany, which was a very, very powerful and militarily mighty country. But a major contribution was undoubtedly made by the Soviet Union. But to come back for a moment to the American corporate connection, you might say, with Nazi Germany, you know, after Pearl Harbor then, or at least 4 days after Pearl Harbor, the United States is officially at war with Nazi Germany. So what happened to the American investments, to the American branch plants in Germany? Well, the answer is business as usual. They kept on producing for Hitler. They kept on producing weapons until the very end. And Hitler kept paying the bills until the very end. And actually, business continued to be very good. You know, Ford, General Motors, IBM, ITT continued to make big profits in Nazi Germany even after Pearl Harbor. Yeah. Officially, the headquarters in the United States lost control over operation in Germany. But that is actually only partly true. I give details about that in my book on the myth of the Good War. But the reality is that actually business continued, and these American corporations continued to do very, very well, thank you very much, until the very, very end of the war. And it's very likely, it's almost certainly not a coincidence, that while our bombers, the American and British bombers, bombed a lot of German cities like Cologne and Hamburg and Dresden, and destroyed old buildings galore and churches and cathedrals, that actually they hardly ever bombed the big factories of American branch plants in Germany, such as the big Ford factory, for example, on the banks of the Rhine in Germany, such as the plant of General Motors in Rüsselsheim. So at the end of the war, it's fair to say that actually Americans saved their investments in Germany and came out, you know, with big, big investments still intact in Germany. And these companies, these businesses are still there today, still making very much money. Thank you very much. But the moral of the story is that the United States did not fight the war against Germany because they hated Nazism, they hated Hitler. They fought the war basically. First, they didn't want to fight against Hitler at all because they made lots of money thanks to Hitler. And later on, they made lots of money out of a war fighting or providing both Hitler and his enemies, with equipment. So the war was a wonderful thing. And that's one of the lessons, I think, that we have to consider for the post-war period. The United States never had anything against Nazism and fascism. And today we see how in Ukraine, for example, the United States tolerate and even encourage and even support neo-Nazi elements, as they wage a struggle now against the Russians over there. And there seems to be nothing wrong with that as far as the Americans are concerned. Nazis are not a problem as far as we're concerned, seemingly, regrettably. And secondly, war is still very good for business. When the war ended, actually, many American economists were concerned that war would be the end of the good times. War would be the end of the boom, the wartime boom. And as a result of that, when the war ended, we had to find new wars. And that's why the Cold War was so wonderful, because the Cold War allowed the system to keep on functioning. The warfare system, as it's called, the Pentagon system, to keep working. That's the one of which Eisenhower later famously said, that it's the military-industrial complex that's profiting from all that. Well, indeed, he was right. The Cold War picked up the slack of the Second World War. And after the Cold War, the Gulf War. And after the Gulf War, the ultimate solution, war against terrorism, which means worldwide war, permanent war. And that's the great solution, so to speak, because as many people know, if peace would break out, it would be a catastrophe for the American economy.
The Center for Research on Globalization depends on your support. To purchase a book or DVD, or to make a donation, please visit globalresearch.ca today.